It's a dark and stormy day today, but first I'm going to show you a little sunny video that I made yesterday because it has to do with today's adventure. It's spring and look at these happy pansy faces. Don't we just love our spring flowers? These pansies and violas, they made their seeds last year, and the seeds traveled here and there and everywhere, and now little pansies are springing up. There's a little one there, and here's one by the sidewalk. And here's a few more that made their way out of the garden and into the grass. The earth laughs and flowers. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The other thing that you need to know about today's adventure is that there is a troll that lives in the neighborhood. I didn't know what I was going to nature journal about today, and I took my camera out onto the porch. It was raining, and the wind gusts were very strong. I walk in the rain, but it's quite dangerous to walk in the woods on a windy day. You never know when a dead branch may fall. April 13th, and the wind is howling today. We might get gusts up to 50 or 60 miles an hour today. I'll have to check my Beaufort wind scale and see what that is. Rain last night. It's raining right now. We might get a thunderstorm later. I was looking down at the sidewalk, just watching the raindrops in a puddle, when I noticed something. You can see the rain in the puddle. Oh no, what happened over there? There's that pesky troll again. Look at that, he took apart one of those beautiful pansy flowers. And then I asked the troll, why would you do such a thing? But my tea bag this morning was prophetic. It said, let things come to me. And there was my opportunity lying on the sidewalk. The troll had destroyed the flower, but now I have the opportunity to study it up closer. The first thing I want to know is what group of flowers does this pansy belong to? A fun book to learn about different flower families is Shanlea's Quest, a botany adventure for kids ages 9 to 99. Well, that certainly describes me. It was written by Thomas Elpel. He's the man who wrote the book Botany in a Day. I don't have that book with me right now because I had taken it out of the library. But this is a fun adventure where a young woman goes on a quest to learn about the different flower families. And she goes in her canoe and visits the different islands. And each island is named after a flower family. We have the Mustard Island, Parsley Island, Mint Island, Pea Island, Aster, Rose, and Grass. And each island that she goes to, she learns about the characteristic of that flower family. The book also has a deck of cards. It helps you learn about the patterns in each flower family. And it also has lots of pictures to help you identify different wildflowers. I'm going to use the flower family cards to help me identify the pansy. The first card says Parsley family. But these flowers are in umbels. Think of umbrella. And that's not what a pansy looks like. The second card says Lily family, But these are monocots, and I've learned that monocot has parallel veins. And when I look at the leaf on the pansy, I can see that it has a network of veins, and they're not parallel. The next card is the mint family, and this one says it has square stalks, and that the leaves are opposite. I don't think the stalk of the pansy is square, and the leaves don't look opposite, and the flowers don't look irregular like this picture. So I'm going to go to the next card, which is the grass family. Now this flower has no petals at all, and I know my pansy has beautiful big purple petals. The aster family is composed of composite flowers. There's ray flowers around the outside and disc flowers in the middle. That doesn't sound like my pansy at all, so I'm going to keep going. The pea family has a very irregular flower. It's not symmetrical at all. And look at the shape of these flower petals. One is shaped like a keel. The other two are wings, and then there's a big banner. Although the pansy has two at the top, not one, but it does have wing petals, but certainly not a keel petal. So I don't think it belongs in the pea family. How about the mustard family? Well, no, because this has 4 petals, and my pansy has 5. How about the rose family? Well, let me check. 5 petals and 5 sepals. That sounds about right. It also has numerous stamens in the middle. I'm going to say that my pansy belongs to the rose family. Who knew? In my journal, I wrote that it was a wet and windy day, and that the pansy was in the rose family because it has 5 petals. I drew my little purple petals, and to me, it reminded me of little seashells, so I wrote that in my book. 2 upper petals that overlap, 2 side petals, and 1 bottom petal that had a little beard. What I noticed were that the dark areas on the petals were very fuzzy and velvet-like. I looked at that under my zoomy microscope. And then I was curious about this velvet on the leaf. Did it serve a purpose? It's always good to have a question when you're studying something. Then I looked at the stem. Have you ever really looked at a pansy stem? There's something very strange. In the axil, which is the angle between the leaf and the stem, there's these funny little hands sticking out. They look like little green hands coming out of the axil. Never noticed that before. The leaves themselves were quite pretty with scalloped edges, and the veins were definitely network-like because I looked at them under the zoomy microscope. The axil is also where the buds form, and on the end was the flower. Then I was very surprised because when I looked at the stem under the zoomy, it did look almost square. And I can also see the conductive tissue where the water and the minerals are transported up and down the stem. That was pretty interesting. Next, I looked at the calyx, which is made up of the sepals. The sepals are the little green parts. It's the outermost part of the flower. Here are the sepals after the petals had come off. What purpose do they serve? Well, when they're closed up, they protect the growing bud. When it opens up, it's the outermost part of the flower. So you have the sepals, and then the petals, and then the center of the flower. And here I was really surprised when I looked at the center of the flower under my microscope. It was very strange looking. I felt like Olaf, the snowman. Wait, what am I looking at? I really wasn't quite sure what this was. So I had to go to a botany book and do some research. I found out that the center part with the opening is the pistil, or the female part of the flower. From the pistil, you go down the style to the ovary. The ovary is inside, and that's where fertilization takes place and where the seeds are made. Surrounding the pistil were the stamen. These are the male parts of the flower. On the top of the stamens were the anthers, and this is where the pollen is. Around here, there's secretions that are very tasty for insects. So when insects come to get a treat, they accidentally pick up some pollen and may deposit it near the pistil, where it goes down the style to the ovary and the seeds are fertilized. I put down that the pistil looks like a vase. It certainly has an opening and then widens out underneath. So today was quite the botany adventure. But one more connection I made before I finished my journaling page, and that's that pansies were symbols of remembrance. And I hope I can remember all the parts of the flower today. Thanks for coming along on this botany adventure with me. Bye-bye.